What is going on, Patriots? Welcome back out to the range. Listen, I love my modern polymer striker-fired defensive pistols and my customized AR-15s just as much as the next red-blooded American. But there is a distinct, undeniable soul forged into old-school military steel. You cannot fake that. You cannot 3D print the scent of 50-year-old cosmoline baking off a red-hot barrel. You cannot mold the solid, dense balance of genuine military-issue walnut resting against your shoulder. And you certainly cannot manufacture the raw, bloody history permanently stamped into those faded serial numbers. These firearms are not just range toys. They are functional, mechanical artifacts. Weapons that fought the greatest conflicts of the 20th century. And guess what? They can still outshoot a lot of modern budget rifles on the firing line today. So today, we are talking steel and wood. I am breaking down 10 legendary surplus battle rifles you absolutely need to be looking for in 2026. Whether you need a heavy-hitting brush gun for deer season or the ultimate historic centerpiece for your gun safe, these are the heavy hitters. Let us get down to business. First up on the firing line, the legendary Mosin-Nagant. This is the undisputed, mud-slogging workhorse of the Russian military. This design has been dropping bodies since the 1890s, and wild enough, you still see these rifles turning up in modern combat zones right now. It runs the 7.62x54R. That is a massive rimmed cartridge that kicks like a pissed-off mule. For decades, we were buying this ammo in those giant surplus spam cans for pennies. The most common variant you will trip over at the gun show is the 9130. Look, it is not a beauty queen. The wood furniture usually looks like it was carved with a rusty axe, and racking that bolt feels a lot like dragging a cinder block across a gravel driveway. Not to mention, you are going to spend 3 days scrubbing out enough cosmoline to lubricate a tank. But that is the beauty of it. It was engineered for barely trained conscripts fighting in the absolute worst conditions on Earth. Mud, ice, trenches, it simply does not care. Right now, you are going to drop between $300 and $500 for one. Clean that chamber out properly, and you have an indestructible piece of history. All right, you knew this one was coming. The undisputed king of the greatest generation, the M1 Garand. This is the heavy metal that fundamentally shifted infantry tactics forever. Loud, proud, and dripping with American exceptionalism. Chambered in 3006 Springfield, this battle implement delivers a serious thump on both ends of the barrel. It commands absolute respect at distance, and we all know the sound. That iconic metallic ping when the empty 8-round en-bloc clip launches out of the action. That is not just mechanics. That is the acoustic signature of freedom, ladies and gentlemen. You can still get your hands on authentic US-issued models through the CMP. Depending on the rack grade, you are looking at $650 to $1,000. Fair warning, 3006 match ammo is not cheap, and a long afternoon shooting strings with a steel butt plate will leave a mark on your shoulder. Buy a shooting jacket, because if you want maximum historical pedigree and dead nuts reliability, the Garand stands alone. Let us shift gears to the CARCANO M91. This was the primary battle rifle for the Italian military through both global conflicts. It is a classic bolt action, running the 6.5x52mm CARCANO cartridge. I will be straight with you. It is not a finely polished, high-end sporting rifle. It is utilitarian and raw. And yes, it carries a very dark, infamous legacy from Dallas in 1963. But looking strictly at the firearm itself, it is a fascinating mechanical piece. It uses a 6-round en-bloc clip system. Very similar concept to the M1 Garand. It allows for incredibly fast tactical reloads, and when you run it dry, that empty clip falls right out the bottom of the magazine well. The headache here is logistics. Finding 6.5 CARCANO on the shelf at your local gun shop is not happening. You are either hitting the reloading bench hard or scouring the dark corners of the internet for surplus batches. The silver lining? The guns are dirt cheap. You can easily scoop up a decent shooter for under $3. Now, if we are talking legendary bolt actions, you cannot leave out the Lee-Enfield. This was the absolute backbone of the British military might. Specifically, the No. 1 Mark III and the No. 4 Mark I. These rifles are over-engineered, heavy-duty problem solvers, and the bolt cycle? it is lightning fast, smoother than custom precision rifles built yesterday. It runs the rimmed .303 British cartridge and feeds from a massive 10-round detachable box magazine. Having 10 rounds on tap was an absolute game changer, while everyone else was running 5-round internal boxes. This rifle birthed the infamous Mad Minute, a British infantry drill where a soldier had to land 30 accurate hits at 300 yards in 60 seconds, with a manual bolt action. Let that sink in. .303 drops medium game all day long. A solid Enfield is going to run you between $400 and $800 right now. Let us talk about a hidden gem, the Turkish Mauser, specifically the model 1938. This is pure, proven German Mauser engineering, but heavily modified by the Turkish military. It is chambered in the phenomenal 8mm Mauser, a cartridge that offers devastating terminal ballistics and flat trajectories. Turkey kept these big rifles in service way past the transition to semi-autos. What I love about these guns is their history. They are a fascinating mix of leftover parts. You will find stunning Arabic script from the Ottoman Empire stamped right next to 20th century Ankara arsenal marks. Mechanically, they are absolute workhorses. My personal 1938 has a bolt that runs like it is on buttered glass. And the best part? They are totally flying under the radar. You can snag one for $350 to $600. It is all the Mauser strength and accuracy for half the German price tag. Alright, time for a true titan, the Mauser Kar 98K, the standard issue German battle rifle of World War II. This is the apex predator of military bolt actions. The action design is so perfect, almost every modern hunting rifle manufactured today is just a clone of this system. It fires the hard-hitting 8mm Mauser. It is brutally effective, insanely accurate, and you can still find factory ammo if you know where to look. Expect to shell out between $600 and $1,200 for a solid K98. But listen to me closely on this one. The collector market is an absolute minefield. It is flooded with Russian captures, mismatched bolts, and outright fakes. Do your homework. Scrub those serial numbers, learn your Waffenamps, and inspect those proof marks. When you get a real one, the trigger is glass, the lockup is built like a bank vault, and it exudes pure historical intimidation. Let us pivot to the SKS. This is your ultimate, no-nonsense bug-out rifle. It is not trying to win a beauty contest. It is just going to run, period. It is chambered in the ubiquitous 7.62 by 39mm, the exact same Russian cartridge as the AK-47, which means you can stack ammo deep without taking out a second mortgage. Most of these feature a fixed 10-round internal magazine fed by stripper clips. I actually prefer that. You cannot lose your magazine in the woods if it is permanently attached to the gun. These were designed for absolute simplicity. You can field strip the entire weapon on the tailgate of your truck with zero tools. Wipe the carbon off the gas piston, and you are back in the fight. Sure, people love dropping these into cheap plastic tactical stocks. But do yourself a favor and keep the original wood. There is a tactical purity to mastering the SKS exactly as it was issued. You can still find these tanks for under $500. Closing out the list, we have the Springfield Armory M1A. Now, before the purists jump into the comments, I know it is a commercial civilian production rifle, but it is the direct descendant of the U.S. military M14. It has so much combat DNA flowing through its receiver, it absolutely commands a spot on this table. This is a gas-operated semi-automatic beast chambered in .308 Winchester. It brings massive terminal energy, rock-solid reliability, and serious long-range capability. The action cycles with this heavy mechanical authority that you just have to feel to understand. It ejects brass into the next zip code. This is the premium option on our list, running anywhere from $1,500 to over $2,000. You are writing a big check, but you are getting a bridge between Cold War battle heritage and modern precision. The only real penalty? Ounces equal pounds, and pounds equal pain. Hauling an M1A through thick brush all day feels like carrying a bag of wet cement. But when you need a rifle that can take a whitetail at 400 yards just as easily as it defends your homestead, the M1A does not compromise at the end of the day. Whether you are looking at the budget-friendly grit of an SKS or the blue-collar nobility of an M1 Garand, these surplus rifles are so much more than cold steel and old timber. They are physical, tangible records of world-altering conflicts and the men who fought them. Every ding, scratch, and gouge in that wood furniture has a story that we will probably never know. If you are pulling one of these out of the used rack, be smart. Get a set of gauges and check your headspace before you ever load a live round. Verify those proof marks and understand the mechanical condition of the weapon you are trusting your life or your eyesight to. All right, I want to hear from you. Which one of these historic heavyweights are you adding to your gun safe this year? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, if you value your Second Amendment rights and you love historical firepower, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment to keep this community strong. Stay safe, keep your powder dry, and I will see you on the next one.